If you think Disney World is all castles and happily ever afters, then this video is going to surprise you. Get ready for the things in Disney World we can't believe actually happened here on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Now, no two Disney World trips are ever alike, and no two Disney World days are ever alike. Believe it or not, there are so many things that happen in Disney World that you have no idea about. And even though we go to Disney World every single day, some of these even surprise us. Some are weird, some are wonderful, some leave us scratching our heads, and some even Disney itself wasn't prepared to encounter. Let's get started first with sea creatures. Yep, sea urchins, in fact. Now wait, I think you're really gonna love this. There are sea urchins in Epcot that like to wear Mickey hats, and it's the best thing ever. You can meet our hat-loving pals on the first floor of Sea Base after you exit the Seas with Nemo and Friends dark ride. Now, the urchins aren't always dressed to the nines. Last time we were there, they were hanging out as their lovely naked selves, but every now and then the Disney aquarists will add a little pair of Mickey ears into their tank, and the urchins are like, oh look, cool, I can camouflage myself with it, and they put it on themselves without any help. It is absolutely the coolest thing ever. That's what urchins do. They basically put things on themselves to camouflage, and if you happen to put a cowboy hat in there, then they'll put a cowboy hat on. Now, we saw the urchins wearing special ears during Disney World's 50th anniversary celebration kickoff, and we've seen them wearing them since. Around the holidays, the urchin tank is also known to receive some other specialty decor like fake cobwebs around Halloween or an itty-bitty menorah at Hanukkah. Now, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Without cast members, Disney World would come crashing down. They help keep the park running in so many ways, even in ways you never realize. Now, this next one, the DFB team was divided. 50% of us knew this happened, and 50% of us had no clue this happened, even though we'd been in Magic Kingdom hundreds of times. So twisting your ankle on the Main Street USA trolley tracks happens a lot. Believe me, you're not the only one that's done it. But when Magic Kingdom is ready to put on one of their parades, they don't want cast members or walking characters to experience the same fate, nor do they want parade floats accidentally getting caught on some of these tracks, since the floats don't use the tracks to get around their route. That's why before every parade, a handful of cast members put down a series of rubber strips, called cheese for some reason, on top of the trolley tracks. It helps even out the pathways and makes the route much safer to cross. So how many of you have actually seen that happening or registered that that's what was going on? It's one of those things you just sort of pass by, and while you're staring at the castle or you're on your way to Haunted Mansion, you don't really process it, right? Next on our list, hydration is important during a day at Disney. You know that because you watch DFB Guide and we always talk about water. But is filling up your water bottle really worth it if your water's coming from the pipes where the Dianoga trash monster lives? So the Dianoga resides above the water fountain near the restrooms in Galaxy's Edge, and he's a sight for sore eyes, or in this case, a sight for sore eye. You'll be able to awaken the Dianoga if you press the water fountain button, so when you go in for a swig, make sure to look up. That way you can watch this hairy, one-eyed creature peering back at you from the sewer water above. Now, in truth, the Dianoga just sort of shows up on a regular basis. I don't know if pressing the water fountain button makes any difference, but you can tell your kids that and then they'll press the button and be super surprised. Now, speaking of trash monsters, this next one is much more palatable. Can we say palatable when we're talking about trash? No? Okay, moving on. If you're not excited about the return of Epcot's talking trash can, you are wrong, because it's amazing. Back in the day, our futuristic talking trash can friend was part of the former Electric Umbrella quick service, but the Electric Umbrella closed and became what we now know as the Connections Cafe and Eatery, which is also a quick service location with options like the banh mi burger and the curry spice pizza and the apple pie gelato shake. But when the Electric Umbrella closed up shop, the talking trash can that used to be part of this whole setup disappeared along with it, and it didn't reappear in the Connections Cafe. And call us sentimental, but we missed our little garbage friend. However, at the end of July this year, we experienced a truly glorious reunion. The talking trash can returned, but now it's found a new home over in the Odyssey building. This trash can is very unassuming. It looks like any of the other trash cans hanging around the area, but if you happen to throw your leftovers away in its gaping maw, then you might just have a rather wild discussion with the trash. Hey, I've seen weirder things, all right? So when we were trying to figure out what we wanted to put into this video, this one came up as one of the first suggestions. So something you never knew happened in Disney World, something that's really surprising and kind of weird, literally kite tails. Whether you love it or hate it, you gotta admit, kite tails was not what we expected. When Disney first announced that kite tails would be coming to Disney's Animal Kingdom in honor of the 50th anniversary celebration, the concept art was really nice. It looked like a kite-based show across the Discovery River Amphitheater. It might be fun and unique, and I'm not saying it wasn't, I'm just saying it was even better than we thought. There are two different versions of these 10-minute shows. One was based around characters and music from The Lion King, and the other was The Jungle Book. And although the kites were big and colorful, people's favorite part about the whole thing ended up being the crash landings on the bleachers across the way. That's normal, that's what those kites are supposed to do, but the way it looked was just really funny. Today you can still catch these kites in action, but not as a full-on show. Instead, these characters take flight every 20 minutes or so, and you can watch them soar across the water as you walk over to the Asia section of the park. The crash landings still happen though, so you can check those out. Alright, next we've got that surprise customized merch. Sure, you can get a pair of ears or an ornament that matches everyone else's, or you can get it customized to make it one of a kind. There are a handful of locations throughout Disney World where you can get your ears embroidered, like Curtain Call Collectibles on Main Street USA and Magic Kingdom, Celebrity 5 and 10 on Hollywood Boulevard in Disney's Hollywood Studios, or at Disney's Wonderful World of Memories gift shop in Disney Springs, which is attached to the Art of Disney store. Select mini ears and ornaments can also be customized with fancy schmancy paint pen writing, including names, dates, and or other fun and festive designs at the Christmas shops like Ye Olde Christmas Shop in Magic Kingdom and Disney's Days of Christmas in Disney Springs. Both of these customizable options have price points that depend on what kind of design you choose. For embroidered ears, you got 3 options. You can have basic embroidery, 1 line and a maximum of 16 characters for $4.99. Premium embroidery, 2 lines and 16 characters max per line for $7.99, or deluxe embroidery, which is basically the same as the premium but expands on the color and font choices for select items, and that's $9.99. For painted ears and ornaments, you can get a name, year, or a number for an extra $3, and with $3 more for every word or art piece you choose to add on top of that, or you can get the month, date, and year for an additional $9. You've also got a lot of different shiny ink colors to choose from too, and you can even purchase an upgrade for your free Disney Celebration button. Celebration buttons for honeymoons, anniversaries, birthdays, graduations, or any sort of event you're wanting to celebrate can be picked up at the lobby of your hotel or any of the guest relations buildings at the front of the parks. For absolutely $0 and 0 cents, you can get a celebration button. But if you swing on by those Christmas shops, they can style your button just like they would an ornament for an extra $3. For a more underrated customizable souvenir, you're gonna have to travel over to the France Pavilion in Epcot. At the Plume et Palette fragrance shop, you'll be able to track down some super fancy designer perfumes. Some smell like a fresh meadow, some make me sneeze, and some manage to do both. But if you want to step your perfume game up a notch, you can upgrade your bottle with a free Disney engraving of your choice. You can personalize these bottles with your name, park icons, the year of your big trip, whatever. There's a ton of options to choose from. After you choose which design tickles your fancy, the shop will get right to work and the final product will be shipped to you within 7 to 10 business days. Now, what if I told you there was another type of souvenir that allowed you to become one with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and is way cheaper than a specialty perfume bottle? Well, let's talk photo booths. Now, not often do we talk about Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge and Marvel in the same sentence. Actually, I don't think we ever do. But today is different, because today I want to point out the Marvel photo booth that you can find in Pumbaa's Fun and Games Arcade that's featured at this deluxe resort. The Marvel photo booth not only takes your picture, but it inserts you into a Marvel comic book cover or story panel alongside your favorite heroes. Don't worry, Jarvis will walk you through the process and make sure everything looks fab. This experience costs $6, but you'll need a preloaded Disney arcade card to pay for it, which you can get at any resort arcade location. But here's a big secret for you. These Marvel photo booths aren't exclusive to Disney. You might stumble upon them at your local mall too, so keep your eyes peeled during your next shopping spree. But wait, photo booths are actually abundant around Disney World, and depending on which photo booth you're in, you'll have different picture choices, which also cost you around $6. You can get a Tomorrowland Speedway driver's license at the front of Tomorrowland Speedway in Magic Kingdom, and you can get a specialty 50th anniversary themed photo strip at multiple photo booths like the one in Dinoland USA at Disney's Animal Kingdom. There are several more designs on top of those for you to discover too. The power is in your hands. Just remember to link the pictures you take in these photo booths to your Memory Maker account. That way you'll have a physical copy and a digital one too, just in case something happens to your physical pics between when they're printed and the end of your trip. All right, back to the rides. We know that some Disney rides can cause a little stomach upset, maybe a little motion sickness, and when that happens a lot, Disney actually provides barf bags. No joke. There are 2 rides that come with complimentary barf bags in Disney World. Both of those just so happen to be in Epcot's World Discovery area, or as I like to call it, Barf Alley. You'll find barf bags available to everyone on Mission Space. They're right there in front of you when you sit down. And on Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, enough people were getting sick that they do have barf bags available if you need one. They're not going to be right in your car, but when you get off, they've got them for you. Now, you won't find barf bags at Flight of Passage in Animal Kingdom, or Mad Tea Party in Magic Kingdom, or even Star Tours in Disney's Hollywood Studios, although all of those rides have been known to make passengers a bit queasy too. Just make sure that if you're prone to motion sickness, you also come prepared for these spinning screen-based or combo of spinning and screen-based rides ahead of time. That way you won't be wishing for a barf bag every time you hop on an experience. Also, don't ride these things on a totally empty stomach, but also don't ride them right after a big meal. Treat it like swimming. Wait 30 minutes after eating before diving on into your next big ride. And also pack your preferred nausea meds in your park bag beforehand. If you forget to pack nausea meds, you can head to one of Disney's first aid stations located in each of the parks, because they'll have them for you complimentary. And I do suggest taking those nausea meds ahead of time before you start feeling queasy. Just give yourself the coverage if you need it. Now, barfing after a Disney ride is probably scarier than this next happenstance we've seen in the Disney parks, but that doesn't mean it's any less shocking if you're not expecting it. We're heading over to Liberty Square in Magic Kingdom because we've got a little Easter egg that I bet you haven't seen. Grim grinning ghosts aren't just hanging around at the Haunted Mansion. Some ghosts like to materialize in other places around Magic Kingdom too, like the Queen Spirit herself, Madame Leota, for instance. So if you're looking for a spooky souvenir in the Memento Mori gift shop on Liberty Square, take a moment to gaze into the oval Baroque mirror hanging on the wall. This mirror looks innocent enough at first, but every now and then you just might catch the face of a certain fortune-telling specter gazing back at you, which honestly makes a lot of sense when you think about it. After all, Memento Mori, which by the way means remember that you will die, is themed around Madame Leota's home that she once resided in while she was in her corruptible mortal state. And since we're already on the subject of the Haunted Mansion, let's talk about the Haunted Mansion experience many people don't realize exists. All right, you see those 5 stone busts hanging out in Haunted Mansion's extended queue line? These spooky guys and gals are more than just part of the unsettling decor. These busts actually tell the story of a series of murders that happened amongst the 5 statues. Leave it to Disney to keep us feeling all warm and fuzzy inside. Turns out each of these busts is guilty of a murder, but who actually killed whom? In order to find out, you'll have to read the clues below the statues. No, I'm not going to give the secrets away. Solving this is part of the fun, but if you need a hint, don't forget to peek behind the statues too. Cousin Maud might be hiding a big clue that'll help you crack the whole case open. Okay, now back to shopping. Really bougie shopping. If you're someone who thinks paying $30 for a pair of mini ears is outrageous, by the way, yes it is, then brace yourself because there are some pairs of mini ears that push well past that $30 range and well into 3 figures. So Disney likes to partner with well-known designers like Bauble Bar, Loungefly, Heidi Klum to produce some rather extravagant mini ear designs. But these Disney-bound accessories come at some major price points that push well over that multi-$100 mark. Just recently, Disney and Vera Wang teamed up to create a luxurious pair of ears made with black velvet, crystals, synthetic pearls, and an organza bow for $600. And if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, right, who's gonna buy that? Actually, people do. These designer ears only stick around for a limited amount of time before they're sold out. So if you're on the other side of the spectrum going, wow, I'd love a pair of designer ears, you can also purchase them on the Shop Disney website if they haven't already been bought up. And if you own a pair of these designer ears, I've got to ask, do you get nervous wearing them to the parks? Because I feel like I'd be super nervous. Now, did you know you can shop for an actual car in Disney World? All right, you ever go on a Disney vacation and think, man, I really should do some car shopping while I'm in town? Probably not. But if you do, then I know a place you can browse some really nice car selections on Disney World property. After you speed along the test track roads at Epcot, you'll exit through a showroom with some rather impressive-looking Chevrolet vehicles. A couple of Chevy experts are lingering nearby just in case you have any questions about what you see featured in the showroom that day, and they'll be happy to answer whatever and point you in the direction of where you can purchase one of these sweet rides after your Disney World trip wraps up, because who knows, you might just stumble upon the midlife crisis car of your dreams. Now, sticking around in Epcot, how about some more Sea Base excitement? Did you even know Sea Base had so much going on in Epcot? It's wild! Alright, we're going to talk about that Sea Base and Mickey collab. Mickey is the jack of all trades. We've seen him as a painter, a safari expert, a pirate, a sorcerer, but this leading mouse is also scuba certified. Usually you can see Mickey diving into the Sea Base tanks on World Ocean Day, which happens on June 8th, but every now and then Mickey decides to throw on his wetsuit and oxygen tank to say a quick hello to all the manta rays and sharks again. And it's always a fun surprise when you do see this happen, because he only does it every now and then. Mickey's a busy mouse after all, so be on the lookout just in case. Now, our Under the Sea friends surprise us with quality entertainment again and again and again, so let's keep riding this wave and look at another incredible aquatic experience that you can check out today in Disney World. We're talking about Broadway-quality puppet shows, literally. Not gonna lie, I was kind of nervous when I heard Finding Nemo the musical was gonna be reimagined at Disney's Animal Kingdom, but when this Broadway-quality puppet show returned as Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond, I actually ended up liking it a lot better than the original. Hot take, maybe. Now, this show opened in June with a new script and new set pieces. Instead of a rehash of the first Finding Nemo film, the musical now follows the fish who managed to escape the tank. Remember when Gil and the gang rolled out the window in individual little baggies and landed right into the ocean? Yeah, this is what happens after they ask the famous post-credits question, now what? The tank gang finds themselves in the Marine Life Institute, featured in Pixar's sequel film, Finding Dory. Now don't stress, along with those fan-favorite Nemo characters, many of the OG songs made their way back into this reimagined musical too. And although I've been impressed by this show in the past, what's really impressive about it now is the updated LED screen tech, which makes the background so much brighter and clearer. This show is a 25-minute performance that only happens about 6 times throughout the day and literally has Broadway performers in the show. So check show times on your My Disney Experience app and make sure you don't miss out. Now, you know how much we love our Disney exclusive experiences, but these next 2 exclusive experiences are for adults only. Don't worry, kids, stick around. I got more for you coming up really, really soon. First is those specialty beers. There are standard beers, there are seasonal beers, and there are beers you're only going to find on tap. And then there are the Disney World exclusive beers. Did you know that there are beers that are only served in Disney World? And I've said beers a lot already in this section. So where can you find these one-of-a-kind brews? There we go. On property. 2 exist over at Pongu Pongu in Disney's Animal Kingdom. The first is called the Moara High Country Ale, which is a darker ale with a light flavor. And the second is called the Hawk's Grog Ale, which is a fruity tint and it's green. Oga's Cantina in Disney's Hollywood Studios also has some unique intergalactic brews available, like the floral-tasting Gold Squadron Lager, the deep red Gamorrean Ale, White Wampa, which is wheat-based ale, and the very hoppy Bad Motivator IPA. Can't decide which to try? Order the Rancor Beer Flight and sample them all. And let's not forget about the famous and fruity Kungaloosh, sold at the Nomad Lounge and Thirsty River Bar in Disney's Animal Kingdom. That was their original Disney-only beer. But if you're not a beer drinker and you're looking for something much sweeter and what the heck, maybe a bit more fun too, then you're going to want to try this next drink instead. Did you know that you can get a drink in Disney World that has a rubber ducky floating in it? Well, over at the Boathouse in Disney Springs, you can enjoy a nice fresh plate of seafood in a setting that might inspire you to go yachting afterwards. But you can also get a specialty cocktail with a bonus souvenir. The Duck Duck Razz is made with blue curacao, of course, blueberry stoli, raspberry stoli, peach schnapps, lime juice, simple syrup, and foam. And although it's a nice refreshing afternoon beverage on its own, what makes it doubly special is that mini rubber ducky. If you're 21 and older, you can get the Duck Duck Razz for $14. Okay, now it's time to head out to some super out there character meet and greets. If you think the urchins at Sea Base are the champions of the camouflage game, just wait till you meet Divine. Divine lives over in Disney's Animal Kingdom, but if you're not looking for her, you might miss her entirely. And that's because she blends in with the surrounding greenery. You see, Divine is a towering plant lady covered in vines, leaves, and various other foliage pieces, and she's completely silent. So don't be caught off guard if you see a tree start walking toward you. Divine isn't always wandering out and about. You really never know when she's going to be around. So if you want to see her, your best bet is to check out the front area of the park to your right-hand side after you enter. That's where she's been hanging out lately. And you can also ask a cast member to see when she might be coming out. Now, Disney World is known as the most magical place on earth, but sometimes that magic is just straight up talent. This is something that boggles my mind every single year, and I have to tell you about it. During Epcot's Festival of the Arts, which takes place throughout January and February, and of course we call it farts, the chalk art is incredible. Disney chalk artists will create scenes that give off a three-dimensional illusion, almost like a pop-up book. You'll just have to stand in a certain area that the artist will clearly mark ahead of time to make the illusion work. It'll even come across through pictures, so make sure to grab a few shots for memory's sake and future inspiration. And speaking of marked off sections that trigger cool events, how about this one? Again, bringing in those incredible cast members. We're going to talk about the applause box. Now, this used to be a more frequent occurrence back when Disney World was still just reopening after those 2020 closures, but we managed to find the applause boxes reappear in the parks every now and then. So what is an applause box? Well, it's just a random taped off square on the ground. But if you step in it, things happen. Stepping in an applause box will trigger the thunderous applause and cheers from nearby cast members, and as soon as you step out of it, the applause stops. Kids really get a hoot out of this, and you know what? I do too. Being cheered on always feels good, even if it's just because you stepped in and out of a square on the ground. Okay, more cast member love here because they are the best. It is really fun when you happen across a cast member who's decided to create a temporary hidden Mickey. Cast members will create hidden Mickeys on the spur of the moment. We've seen them make them out of flower petals, fallen leaves, water art, even on our plates when we ask for a side of ketchup. And that's what makes the cast members so awesome. They do add a little bit of Disney sparkle, even in the tiniest details. And taking that above and beyond is what makes all the difference for us as guests in the parks. Now, this next one is truly great because it can be hilarious or it can be really, really nice. You know how JCPenney used to have photo studios in their shops? Maybe they still do. I don't know. Does yours? Well, Disney Springs has their own photo studio located between Ghirardelli and Marketplace Co-op. Just like a regular Photopass stop that you'd come across in the parks, you don't need a reservation to get your pictures here. Just step inside and a photographer will get you all set up with your choice of backdrop and additional props. Any photos you take here will be automatically uploaded to your memory maker found under your My Disney Experience account. All right, next one. Just when you think you know a Disney experience, it'll turn around and make you question everything. Did you know there are two different Rise of the Resistance experiences? Okay, now the first time I experienced this, it messed with me. Rise of the Resistance in Galaxy's Edge is a state-of-the-art trackless dark ride with like everything packed into one experience. It's got thrills, animatronics, immediate senses of danger, bullying. The First Order does not mess around, but it also has two different ride-throughs. Your ride experience will all depend on whether you're riding in the front or the back transport vehicle. Though there are little differences here and there throughout your journey, the big difference happens when you enter the AT-AT room. If you're in the front vehicle, you'll go left, backing up into an elevator and catching a glance at Finn in his stormtrooper gear against the wall. After the elevator takes you up, you'll come face to face with two stormtroopers inside the head of the AT-AT. However, if you're in the back vehicle, things play out a little differently. The back car maneuvers around the AT-ATs and kind of looks like it would end up escaping the room through a large door, but the door shuts quickly and your vehicle is pulled backwards. You'll still be able to see Finn, but instead of him being up against a wall, he'll be sitting behind crates, avoiding fire from the blasters. When your back vehicle rises up, you'll be facing the side of the AT-AT instead of the head of it. The panel of the body will show stormtroopers scurrying around inside. Before you're ever let into the room with the transport vehicles, everyone about to board will be separated into 4 different color groups. If you're put in the blue or red group, you'll be in the front vehicle, and if you're put in the orange or white, you'll be in the back one. The more you know. So have you ridden both experiences or just one? Now this next point might just answer a question you've been wondering about for a good long while. As great as it is to see all the different species of animals during your Kilimanjaro Safari and Animal Kingdom, how do all the animals keep from eating each other or eating you? Well, fortunately, many hidden barriers are in place to ensure predators and their prey don't end up in the same location, because hate to break it to you, but they ain't going to be living in peace and harmony like they do in Zootopia. All of these barriers are completely natural and safe for the animals, like the lions, for instance. Though they look like they could jump off their pride rock and pounce in your direction, there's actually a hidden moat that's 18 feet deep and 21 feet wide that's keeping you and everyone else aboard the Jeep safe. Now next, you gotta get starstruck by some unexpected Disney guests. Now this is something that we can't believe happened in Disney World, but we haven't seen it for a while. So back in the days of yore, Disney used to invite some rather interesting characters for guests to meet and greet. Barbie, yes, the plastic doll, used to hang out at Epcot during the mid-90s, and this was pre-Toy Story, mind you. She was deemed the ambassador of friendship and would ride around World Showcase in her decked-out glittery pink stretch limo. She also had a 20-minute stage show called The Magical World of Barbie, which wasn't a huge success, so they called it quits by 1995. But you know who was a little more popular than Barbie? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's right, the sewer-dwelling, crime-fighting, shelled crusaders hung around the former MGM Studios, now Disney's Hollywood Studios, between 1990 and 1996. And between 1999 and 2001, MGM also had Doug Funnybone enter the Hollywood scene. And everyone remember that guy? Cartoon TV show character, kinda balding, had a dog named Porkchop and a crush on a gal named Patty Mayonnaise. Anywho, the late 90s were a wild time in Disney World, but the late 80s also had their moments, especially when the gummy bears were wandering around the parks, both in Disney World and Disneyland. And I can't talk about random meet and greet characters without shouting out my man Ace Ventura, who not only met and took pictures with guests, but also had his own MGM show there for a while. Meet and greet experiences haven't been quite as out there as they used to be, but that doesn't mean we aren't still shocked by some of the appearances that pop up in the parks every now and then. Many guests were hyped to see Max's Powerline enter the Boo to You parade during Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. And during events like the Earth Day celebration, you can run across some rare Bugs Life meet and greets in Disney's Animal Kingdom. You never know who you're going to meet in Disney World, so keep your eyes open. Now, sometimes the most unexpected Disney World guests are a gift from Mother Nature. Not too long ago, we released a video all about what happens when it floods in Disney World because, spoiler alert, despite the drain systems lining the park's walkways, this still happens during those torrential downpours. And we've had reporters in Hollywood studios multiple days that there is flooding. One reporter ducked into the darkroom gift shop off Hollywood Boulevard and watched as cast members quickly blocked off one of the entrances due to so much flooding. And I won't give away what happens next, you can check that out in our video, but what I will say is cast members managed the situation swimmingly. Alright, what's one of the most incredible things you've witnessed in Disney World before? Good and bad, we are ready for it. Let us know in the comments. And remember, anything can happen on a Disney trip. It's kind of exciting. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.